Hello, James. Thanks for looking me up on the net. I'm happy to assist you in your golf improvement. James, I go through these initial swing analysis very in depth, regardless of the student or how good their swing is or how poor their swing is. I don't hold back on a whole lot because I'm trying to get the student to understand where they're at in their golfing life, so to speak, and where they want to get to. And I do give them a plan of attack, which I will offer you as well at the end of this lesson. But I want to make something very clear. I've watched your videos top to bottom, and there's a lot of stuff going on in your swing that I think needs changed. And it's a lot. It's not minor by no stretch of the imagination. There's a lot of change that I would, if you're my student in person every week, I'd be working on this thing every week with you. But I know after talking to you, you're not happy with where your swing is now because there's a lot of hand-eye coordination going on at the bottom of the swing arc. There's a lot of timing involved. Take good shots with your golf swing. It doesn't need to be that way, but it is. And I'm going to kind of go through this top to bottom for you. I think you were telling me you were a drawer of the ball for the most part. Which is interesting because everything I see in your swing says slice until I start seeing the forward swing take place, and then I see a lot of making up for the positions I've seen on the backswing with a lot of hand and forearm rotation at the bottom of the arc at impact. Let's start right from the beginning. It's amazing how every swing I see is shaped by the hands on the club. You have a very weak position with the hands. Alright, slice, if you want to call it a slice position, I call it a weak position. That right hand looks like it's pointing, the forefinger and index finger are pointing somewhere over in here. And if I were to have you take that right hand off, I bet you the left hand's in that same situation. We've got to have these hands, the way I teach, pointing this way. What I mean by that is index finger and your thumb. That V formed by those two hands should be over in that area, because that's going to allow for the least amount of hand forearm rotation at impact. When you're squaring up the club face, it's going to allow the torso to square up the club face instead of the hands. When I see a student with a very weak position like this in a dress, I'm usually dealing with someone that has a high handicap, because it takes an awful lot of hand-eye coordination to get that club face back to square with the hands on the club that way. But again, I think you told me you're a low handicap, or we're a low handicap, now you're a single-digit handicap. So that tells me you have a great deal of hand-eye coordination. I can imagine the sports you played in your life you must have been pretty good at. But in any event, everything about that setup right there with the hand says slice. Let's get you back. Right here, halfway or 2 feet back off the ball, you got the face fan wide open. And I would normally see that with people with a very strong hand position on the club as a compensating move, but you don't. You've got a very weak hand position on the shaft, and you double that with a fanned open club base. Let's get you back to towards the top here. I want you to look at your left wrist position. It's in a cup position right there. Again, now you've tripled the slice position. Weak hands on the club, fan the face wide open, and you've introduced a very cup position. Everything about this, James, says left to right and high and slice. And from when I was talking to you on the phone, that's not your typical ball flight. And let's get you to the top now. Toe of the club is pointing straight down at the ground. I still see the very cup position with the left hand. Again, everything says slice at this point. Now, why don't we hit the ball high and right? Let's get you over here to the top for a second. I'm going to show you exactly why. You reroute the club excessively on the downswing. You have to. It's a compensating move you acquired. Or you'd be a really high handicapper, but the fact is you've been a single digit your whole life, still are, but I see a lot of underneath going on. Into the ball. The backswing, get the hands out, club out. As you can see now, we're outside the line. You try to fix it at the top. It's not a bad position at the top there, but the face is wide open and the left wrist is somewhat cupped there. tough to tell from that angle, maybe not, but it looked like a little bit cupped. And you fix all that by rerouting underneath, and then really rotating the hands or forearms at impact to square up the club face. Now, the first thing I'd have you do is fix your hand position on the club, like I told you. Get the hands in a little bit stronger position. Now, what's that going to do short term? That's going to make you hook the hell out of it, unfortunately, because you have a very strong inside move at the ball with a lot of excessive hand-forearm rotation at impact. You put a stronger grip on there like I want you to do, that ball is going to go left. Until we teach our body not to use the hands so much on the downswing. And that's where the drill work comes into play. I've got a drill on my YouTube channel, on my website, that teaches your body not to be so dependent on the hands and forearms at impact. It teaches your body to be more dependent on your torso to square up the club face. Let me see if I can pull up that drill I'm talking about. I'm not sure if you've been to my YouTube channel or not, or my instruction site, but I do have a drill. Yeah, there it is. I call it my cover the ball drill. I do want you to watch that video to its full extent and understand it. Basically, when you do this drill, it teaches your upper body and your torso to square up the club face instead of using the hands. And again, it's on my YouTube channel and on my instruction site. If we're going to switch our hand position at a rest, which I want you to do, I want you to get the hands in a little bit stronger position. This drill is going to be an absolute necessity. It's going to teach you to, let me get you to the top of the swing for a second here. We'll put me on pause for a second. It's going to teach these hands to take a more direct route to the golf ball. Yeah, that's the wrong button here, bear with me. It's going to teach his hands to come this way instead of this way and underneath. So, let's get you to the, bear with me again, James, I'm trying to find you. I got a lot of swings in this software of mine, unfortunately. The other thing I think you even touched on yourself when I talked to you was we got to have a wider stance, buddy. In order to shift the weight properly, we got to have a wider stance to accommodate that. First and foremost, get the hands on there properly. Get the feet a little bit wider and spread apart. The drill on my left, or on your left, watching this video, is my how to cover the golf ball drill. That's going to be important for you because that's one of the drills I'm going to have you do. Another drill I'm going to have you do to help speed up the learning process, so to speak, for you is our early wrist set drill and the takeaway. This is another drill I want you to watch from beginning to end. I want you to incorporate it into your golf swing. If I can get you in this position on the takeaway, right there, a lot of good things come from that position. The shaft is right down the target line. The club face is square. I can't see my iron, but I think it's about in that position there. The shaft is parallel to the target line, and from there all you got to do is keep turning the shoulders. And that club's going to find a real good position at the top. More importantly, your body will not have a need to reroute this thing this way, underneath. Okay? So the two drills I'm going to have you work on for sure are the early wrist set drill and how to cover the golf ball drill. And in a nutshell, those two things you need to work on for sure. Now, is that easy? No, it's not easy. I'm not going to sugarcoat this, James. It's not easy at all. Doable? Yes. Does it take a lot of work? Yeah, absolutely it does. Will it improve your swing? Sure it will. It's going to get rid of the necessity of the hands and forearms at the bottom of the arc to fix things. Let me get you to the top here for a second. When we have a little wider base at the start of the swing, we have the ability to shift the weight off the ball. Dang it, I'm using the wrong buttons again. Bear with me. We have the ability to shift our weight off the ball in the backswing. and to the target on the forward swing, instead of hanging back on our right side and using our arms and forearms to flip through it. Now let's I'm going to go over some of the real positives I see. Let's start on the downswing. Every good golfer I see, and again, you were a low handicapper, now you're a single-digit handicapper. Hopefully, by the end of the season, we'll get you going the other way again. I see a lot of lag here, which is good, and every good golfer I see has this kind of action going on. A lot of lag there. That's good. Secondly, the way I teach people, the way I want them to shift their weight, you do it pretty naturally, which is good, is you post up over your forward foot, the foot close to your target. Very vertical here, very level shoulders at the finish of your golf swing. That's excellent. The learning process that you have in front of you is fairly extensive, but it's not impossible, because quite frankly you have a real good finish position. And a lot of times when I teach my students, you know, I try to get them set up perfectly, and I try to get them to the finish position properly. And when I can do that with people that have real good hand-eye coordination, a lot of times they find their way from A to Z the proper way, just by getting them in the proper setup and getting them into the proper finish position. And like I said, your finish position is real good right there. I see a very good weight transfer, albeit it's a small weight transfer, but it is still a weight transfer. Now I want to show you something here. You have an 8-iron in your hand. This is all because of your setup position. That's a lot of shoulder tilt. It's probably very appropriate for a driver swing, but the fact is you got a short iron in your hand, James, and it's very hard to compress and trap the ball and cover the ball from that position at impact. And again, narrow stance discourages weight shift. When you have a discouraged weight shift, you start relying on a reverse weight shift or reverse pivot, or as I like to say, that reversed C position at impact right here. It's a little exaggerated what I just did there, but you understand what I'm getting at. That's a position I would see for the driver, definitely not for the iron. But in any event, got to fix the grip, number one. Got to get the hands on properly. Number two, I want you to live, eat, sleep, drink this drill on the right. You're going to find it on my YouTube channel. It's a one-piece takeaway. I'm sorry, the early wrist set drill. By getting the hands and the forearms working properly on that takeaway, just like that, it's very easy to get the club in a very good position at the top. And I want you to watch that video in its entirety and understand it. If you don't understand it, I want you to give me a call or drop me an email, and we'll discuss it over the phone. But that takeaway is very important. If I can get my students into a perfect position on that takeaway, the backswing becomes very easy. But that's something you got to eat, sleep, and drink. All right, now, second drill, you got to eat, sleep, and drink. Where's she at now? Just bear with me. In fact, I'm going to bring this up full screen here. What this does at the top, James, is when I'm at the top of my golf swing, this goofy little drill that you see with the incorrect ball position teaches your upper body to play a bigger role in that forward swing instead of letting your lower body fire and take off. And I discussed that in detail during the drill, and I want you to watch that in detail in its entirety on my YouTube channel. These two drills are going to be very important for you to make changes that you need to make to hit the ball a little bit better. Is it impossible? No. Is it a lot of hard work? Sure it is. But I think the fact that you looked me up, you're kind of tired of what's been going on in your golf swing. And again, you've got a lot of hand-eye coordination action in your golf swing. Again, I can only venture to say that you're pretty good with your hands and sports and the whole 9 yards. But in golf, it's not easy. There's no doubt about that. Let's get you back up here again for a second, James. Again, I think you told me you're about my age, and I see a lot of my old swing in your swing. I made this change probably 10, 11 years ago. It wasn't easy. I had it probably a little worse than you did. It took me almost all summer to get rid of it, and took me almost a year to really get used to it. The results were much needed when I was all said and done. And it's something I still, to this day, I go back and do certain drills to make sure I don't fall back into the old DNA, so to speak. But again, James, it's not impossible. It's very possible. Take this advice as you will. It's something I think you can definitely improve on, and something I think you can definitely be successful at if you make these recommendations that I'm putting forth in front of you. But in any event, I will call you in a week or so and see where you're at, see where your mind's at, see what's been going on, and by all means, if you have any questions after you watch this video and after you do my drills and whatnot, I want you to give me a call immediately if you have any immediate questions. If I don't pick up the phone, I'll call you back as soon as I can for sure. But in any event, thanks for looking me up, and I will be in touch. Thank you.